You made history. Just tell us that piece of history that you made in the FA Cup by playing in the final.
The semis, and we got through, and then it was make sure you put the work in so that you get selected for the final, so that you've managed to play in every round.
Just tell us your initial reaction to joining up with England here at St George's Park and training with them.
A 23-year-old working on the factory floor but having aspirations of becoming a football star one day. By the age of 25, Jamie Vardy was playing in the 5th division, a hopeless football lover that became the country's top scorer years later. Jamie Vardy is the living proof. In the period of 2015 and 2016, for some years in a row, many known football names were rumbling about the problems of today's football. One of them being the fact that strikers were no longer being made, not in all of Europe and especially not in England. At that time and even today, that was true for the most part. If you take a closer look at football world, South America is the only continent that produces strikers. Statistics show that 80% of strikers come from South America. But why is that? Well, for the most part, something has been lost in the convenience and comfort among the elite academies. For decades now, in most cultures, street football is gone. But if you go back 30 to 40 years in time, life in England was much more difficult, while today everyone's become much softer and more protective. In the old days, a 10-year-old would be playing football with 15-year-olds, and he would have had to show that he is good and fight to win impossible balls.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Just glad that I got the opportunity. Obviously coming from Halifax, and just the season just worked out as it has. Perfect.
And he came into football late, so he still may have plenty left in his legs. He looks as if he certainly has plenty left in his legs. His goal record for England's very good. His goal record for his club's very good. I feel sad a little bit for any player who retires, but for one so young, he still has so much to offer. I get all the personal stuff as well, in terms of his family and time with the family, but I think it's England's loss.
But also, year after year, you never believed a story like this could happen. It has happened, and you just think what that could do for the rest of football now. And if it could change, and we see more of this more often, but...
You go from James Vardy, non-league, you go to players what have been rejected at previous clubs, to lifting the Premier League trophy. It is quite incredible. And like Jamie said, I think it gives everyone out there, a real opportunity and a real vision that anything can happen, really.
Vardy, the example, you know, coming from non-league. Mahrez, how cheap he was. Kante in midfield. They're the three sort of ones who've been going for the Player of the Year awards.
The interesting and emotional story of Jamie Vardy is one that should inspire everyone. He stopped playing football at the age of 16 years old due to the fact that Sheffield Wednesday, his childhood club, decided that he was too small to succeed and took him out of the academy. At that time, Vardy was young to handle the disappointment, but too hurt to just brush it off and continue. He was passionate about football and cared too much. 8 months passed by before he was ready to try and lace a pair of cleats again, and it wasn't on a special occasion. It was just so he can play a Sunday league match down in the park. It was at this time that he understood that he couldn't stay away from football. Although life changes and priorities can change based on a person's needs, so in his late teens, football went from being his only dream to become his most enjoyable hobby. Life outside the pitch was tough, so he had to figure out what to do so he can provide for himself and his family. At some point, he tried to study, but that was not for Vardy. Instead, it was factory that called for the grain maintenance son. His job consisted mostly of budging the heavy carbon fiber pieces in large ovens. Life for Vardy was work to live, not the other way around, living to work. Get through the week with the work and then occasionally go out in Sheffield's nightlife on the weekends. Hit the pub with the boys and then meet each other afterwards at the kebab shop waiting for the night bus to take them home. Sometimes there would be fights, sometimes not. For a long period of time, Vardy couldn't even play away matches due to the fact that he took part in a bar fight, which resulted in having to carry an ankle monitor with him at all times. He would even have to play home matches with the ankle monitor on his foot. Apart from that, he also had a curfew after 6 o'clock in the evenings. On Saturdays, he would play with a decent amateur team, while on Sundays with a team from the local pub. After the final signal, they had another few beers together, all that just to start the Monday morning punch clock a little further away in the thought.
Look at these players from Stocksbridge. Needs to play it left. Brings it inside. Oh, what a good goal. What a good goal. He brought it from his own half. Walls through the defence, and it was...
As time passed, Jamie Vardy became 23 years old. He was the same age as Aaron Lennon and Joe Hart, who went to South Africa to play the World Cup. Jamie Vardy would watch these matches from his Sheffield pub, and he was no closer to the English football team than any other of the overweight regulars there. The Premier League seasons between 2011 and 2016 were simply an unexpected pattern. There were plenty of multi-million imports in the top scorer table, but the first season was Grant Holt, who scored 15 goals from Norwich, while the second was Betrut backer Ricky Lambert, putting 15 in the net for Southampton, and the third was the bricklayer Charlie Austin, scoring 18 balls for the Crystal Palace. Jamie Vardy's story is no different. Although a later breakthrough, he scored even more Premier League goals. It is sort of a phenomenon that the most successful players have a phase when they quickly climb up the ladder. When Jamie Vardy was 25 years old, he still had never played higher up than in the 5th divisions. His footballing record consisted of small victory bonuses in brown envelopes, some showers with not enough waters, and workout clothes to wash himself. In a miraculous transfer, 2 years later, the 27-year-old Jamie Vardy found himself in the Premier League scoring goals against Manchester United, while after 6 months' time, he was part of the English national team. He himself was just as surprised as anyone else.
Vardy and Rooney up front for England. I mean, that's something that perhaps wouldn't have been said a year or two back, isn't it?
A year or two? I don't think it had been said about 3 months ago, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's like I say, it'll be a good experience. If that does happen come match day, then we'll be putting all his effort into to win that game against Ireland. I'll be giving it my all. Obviously, I want to show exactly what I can do, and hopefully it's enough that I get brought into the squad the next time as well.
And is it, in a sense, the perfect end to the season? You avoided relegation after a heroic recovery at Leicester, and now an international call-up.
Yeah, it's in my eyes, it's unbelievable what's happened. Obviously, I didn't expect it, but it's happened, and like you say, it's capped off a great season.
Next game is Arsenal. 9 of those 101 goals have come against Arsenal. You enjoy those games, don't you?
I enjoy every game I play. Like I say, I want to score as many goals as possible. So we'll get back in tomorrow, have a recovery session, and make sure we're ready for
At the time when Jamie Vardy was awarded the top scorer in the Premier League, 15 years had passed since an Englishman had won the prize. Jamie Vardy went on to score goals in 9 matches in a row in the Premier League. Even though today is the year 2024, he still isn't quite housebroken. He continues to be in a controversy on and off the pitch. Controversial enough that he always tries to put himself in situations that other players avoid, and he chases balls other players have given up on. Leicester's Danish national team goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel said, "From the first day he arrived, I am the greatest Jamie Vardy supporter you can find. He embodies everything I love about football: aggressiveness, mentality, and way of working for the team. This confirms everything on Arsene Wenger's thesis that the extinction of European strikers is real. The top pyramid of football has become far too controlled and static, and that was exactly where Jamie Vardy came in as a trend breaker. International football is most of the time too tactical and predictable, but Jamie Vardy's gameplay was a different story. He would chase everything and never give up, which was totally unpredictable. If Jamie Vardy was able to make it at 27 years old, imagine what one can do in today's era. With commitment and discipline, even the worst of us can make it to the top leagues."